naturally can do it, but our bodies are doing it all the time for us through code. So we use light therapy. That's one of the things that makes it different than sound therapy alone, because when you close your eyes to meditate, if you don't have a light stimulus that's actually a frequency, like our algorithm trains the brain to go to these states, then 30% of your brain is going to go to sleep. And that's when your monkey mind's going to turn on because it doesn't feel safe. Now, we're going to use auricular therapy in your ears. Those ear lights are actually changing frequency every 2 minutes to something called Nogier frequencies. Now, Dr. Nogier, back about 100 years ago, decided to create something called iridology. If you ever heard of acupuncture, where they take different needles and put them in the ears, there's different areas of the ears that trigger different neurological functions. We trigger all 7 with BrainTap, and we do it in a sequence. If those 7 are in balance, then what Dr. Nogier said is the person's in balance. So we're always looking to balance the brain through right and left hemisphere, through the nervous system, and all that's happening within the first 7 minutes of doing every session. And then we have the music in the background, and sometimes this is all there is there's light, sound, and music, because some people don't want to listen to a meditation or a relaxation process, what's going on. Now the ketamine one doesn't talk a lot, but it does let them know they're safe, they're okay, continue to breathe. You know, basically all the things you would want to say to them when maybe you have somebody else in the other room that you're dealing with. So they just put on the headset and they go through it. Then we talk about the beats and tones. There's something called binaural beats. If you don't know what a binaural beat is, then what it does, and this isn't something I invented, this is something that's been around for over 200 years. And they used to use it with singing bowls, like when they were doing different treatments back in the ancient times. They put one bowl of one tone, maybe it was a 528 and a 428 here, and they would have the bowls going, and the brain would synchronize, and they would make people who were crazy sane because their hemispheres were out of balance. There's record after record. They do it with drums, they do it with bowls. So what we're doing it with is we have different tones. So let's say we want to do 10 hertz frequency. I would put a 310 hertz frequency in one ear and a 310 in the other. The brain does not hear 300 or 310. The brain hears 10 hertz. Now what we've done is, since the 1980s, we've been perfecting something we call the algorithm. And what we know is we have 13 core algorithms that train the brain. So each session has one of these training programs that trains your brain to occupy those brainwave states. Because if we measured you beforehand, most of you would be in heavy delta, which means you'd be in a sleeping program even when you're awake. We find that about 90% of the people we scan, their first scan, is 60% or more is in delta, which means their brain isn't waking up. So we need to wake up the brain so it works fully. And part of that is the sound, waking up the brain. And then we use isochronic tones, which is one we can use as beta in the room instead of having it with earphones on. And then we're going to have guided visualizations, because we know that you respond to words. Remember, 3,200 gene expressions change just by the words you choose. And we need to change those words that you might be using for the negative into positive. Think of anything that's causing you angst right now negative. Our job through the BrainTap system is to give you the superpowers to overcome those. Whether it's, we're really well known in the addictions space, because that was my background, helping people with addiction. Because once you find out that there's more than one choice, your brain will always make another choice. But until it thinks this is the only way, that the brain collapses that field of information, it doesn't. So this is about expanding it. Yes, you have a question?
So in this model, where does the breathing, the breath fit? Is that?
That's in the, we take it through the guided visualization. We have the breath masters there. I've done some for the vagal nerve, but we have a lot of breath masters. So you can go through many courses on breath work. They use the headset during that time.